Beth, if I could just get a word, please. What do you want, Dwight? Oh, you want to know what's going on with $1 Million Foundation? Beth, I just think you should rethink going after Bianca. It's not going to benefit anybody. Dwight, get out of here. Benefit in the $1 Million Foundation. And at the end of the day, that's where the money is. Bianca stole my championship. It was supposed to be mine. The top spot in the foundation was supposed to be mine. Don't you think I feel the same way, Beth? Get off me, we're not there yet. Listen, Beth, we could work together. That's pretty cool. You're not gonna really take that thing to the ring with you, are you? You might need it one day. Exactly, thank you, Rosie. It's just the fact that dumbass JJ... Oh, Justice. What do you want, Justice? I gave this to you guys. But on another note, I was just wondering if I could get your support tonight. I have my own stuff to deal with, Justice. I understand that. It's just that it's the $1 Million Foundation, and you know they're going to be coming in numbers for my world championship, and they're not going to play fair. And this title deserves to be defended fair. Or maybe you should give Jamal more credit. What are you talking about, Rosie? I'm just saying, give him the benefit of the doubt. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Desolation. And we are kicking off the night with a huge mixed tag team match. We will have the mixed tag team championships on the line at Doomsday Select, but who will be the challengers for Justice and Stephanie McMahon? Tonight we are one step closer to finding out. Our official Julia Price is in the ring to call the action. And I am pumped. World title on the line in the main event. Thunder Rosa kicking us off. Thunder Rosa and Exolator. Hook and Chris Statlander. Starting off with Exolator and Hook. Two former APE World Champions going at it now in the mixed tag team division. And their partners fresh off of a pay-per-view match where Thunder Rosa got the best of Chris Statlander, but it was an epic encounter. Exolator with a drop kick to Hook. And now a submission to Hook, but Hook gets to his feet. And Exolator brings Hook to his corner, tag into Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa with a big roundhouse kick to Hook, springing off the middle rope. Exolator with a slam to Hook. And Thunder Rosa with a leg drop to Hook. Hook plunges towards the tag, and in comes Chris Statlander, goes for a clothesline. Thunder Rosa ducks underneath and picks Chris Statlander up. Statlander escapes, trips Thunder Rosa out onto the apron. And Thunder Rosa has Chris Statlander's leg and leg whip in the ropes. Tags in Exolator. Exolator 450 splash to Chris Statlander. And Thunder Rosa takes out Hook. And what teamwork there. Thunder Rosa throwing Exolator into Statlander. Statlander on Thunder Rosa's shoulders now. Death Valley Driver, center of the ring. Thunder Rosa on the apron. Exolator legal. And Exolator Lightning Octopus, but Chris Statlander rolls through, picks Exolator up, throws him. Exolator lands on his feet. Exolator goes for a Pele kick, but gets caught by Chris Statlander. And Saturday Night Fever in the center of the ring. Stat makes the tag to Hook. Hook springing in, shoulder block. Goes for a boot to Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa out of the way, and a spiral splash taking out Hook. Julia Price getting Thunder Rosa back to her corner. Escalator hits the ropes and hits Chris Statlander's knee. Judo throw by Hook and a back elbow. Escalator comes back from the ropes. Goes for the arm drag, but Hook catches him. Red Rum backs into his corner. Chris Statlander tags in. And Hook turns Escalator inside out on top of his head. Center of the ring. Statlander flips in with a leg drop. But Julia Price did not see the tag. She was arguing with Thunder Rosa to get to her corner. Escalator makes the tag to Thunder Rosa, and Julia Price saw that tag. Hook had to come back in and eats a moonsault by Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa with a enziguri to Chris Statlander. And Hook now has a hold of Thunder Rosa, throws her inside out, and a lariat on the mat. Thunder Rosa, though, avoids it, but she couldn't avoid that. And Hook now in control, goes for the knee, but gets swept up. And Thunder Rosa into her corner, makes the tag to Escalator. Escalator rolls through, sunset flip, power bomb. And Thunder Rosa frog splash to Hook. And Statlander got her knee up, takes out Thunder Rosa. Kick to the back of the head of Escalator, and Hook going for the tag, but Escalator cuts him off. And Escalator trips up Hook and the Lightning Octopus. Julia Price backing Chris Statlander off, and Escalator's got it locked in. Hook in agonizing pain, and Thunder Rosa crucifix taking Chris Statlander out, and Hook taps out in the Lightning Octopus. Escalator and Thunder Rosa victorious. One step closer to going to Doomsday Select to fight for the Mixed Tag Team Championships. Tonight, we handle business for the $1 Million Foundation. Justice, I'm coming for your championship, and I ain't leaving here without it. I'm gonna tear you apart. NWO! Where is everybody? Hey man, where's everybody for you? Thought it was 5-on-5. Well, Scott, I had a conversation last week, and it just so happens the 5th member of our team is right behind you with a chain, ready to choke your ass out. And I warned you, and you're still gonna get choked out. Just like Samoa Joe said, he has it wrapped around Scott Hall's neck, and oh my god, he is hanging him from that stage prop, and he's behind it now, and that thing is solid stone. Scott Hall will be lifeless in a few moments and he grabs the belt stand and throws it at Dominic Mysterio to free himself, and he's able to get that chain from around his neck. And here comes the rest of the NWO. Scott Hall tripping Jey Uso. Roman Reigns Superman punch, but gets caught by Undertaker. The Rock throwing in Sting. Sting throws Rock into the corner. Undertaker with a choke slam to Roman Reigns. Disciple taking out Samoa Joe. The Rock throws Sting out of the ring after getting Stinger splashed. Roman Reigns throwing Undertaker out of the ring and stomps on him on the other side of the ring. Dominic Mysterio with a frog splash to Jey Uso. And big shots by Dominic Mysterio to Scott Hall. And now going after Sting. Disciple taking out Dominic Mysterio. Big shots to Dom by Disciple. NWO versus Bloodline. In an all-out war here tonight. Disciple taking out The Rock. And Sting helps him. And Sting's got Jey Uso. Scorpion Death Drop. There's Roman Reigns with a Superman punch to Sting. Disciple Death Valley driver to the Rock. Into Roman Reigns. Undertaker choking out the Rock. Disciple with a clothesline to Dominic Mysterio. Classic Undertaker leg drop to the Rock and Roman Reigns. Disciple stomping on Jey Uso as Samoa Joe pulls Uso out of the ring. And NWO chasing off Roman Reigns. And the Bloodline retreats and the NWO stands tall. You are watching Desolation, episode 26. And Eric Bischoff has turned this into a tag team match. Scott Hall and Undertaker against Dom Mysterio and Jey Uso. The winner has to fight Bludgeon Brothers next week. Undertaker in control of Dom, rolling his forearm across the head of Dom on the mat, throws him back into his corner, and a boot to the midsection of Dom, beating him in the corner, and tags in Scott Hall. Undertaker throws Dominic to the mat, hits the ropes. Dominic sits up and eats a drop kick courtesy of Undertaker. And Undertaker, Hell's Gate to Dom Mysterio. Jey Uso coming in to break it up, and he trips Scott Hall into the Undertaker to break it up. And Jey Uso goes for a crossbody, but Undertaker fall-away slam to Jey Uso out of the ring. Scott Hall is the legal man. And he goes for the waist lock, gut wrench suplex to Dominic Mysterio. And Dominic tags out. In comes Jey Uso. Uso eats a clothesline. But Dominic tripping Scott Hall, giving Jey Uso a chance to fight back. And Uso takes advantage of it. Arm drag to Scott Hall. And a DDT with Scott Hall with a back body drop to Jey Uso. And Uso out of the way, and a head kick by Dominic Mysterio as Scott Hall enters his corner. And a back body drop by Jey Uso. Uso goes for the tag to Dominic, but Dominic tells Uso that he's got it. But maybe Jey does have it under control. Jey goes for the drop kick to the head of Scott Hall, and now Dominic tags in, and Dominic crossbody off the top rope, taking out Scott Hall, and takes out The Undertaker. Dominic Mysterio like a house of fire, sending Scott Hall into his corner. Jey Uso holding on to Scott Hall, and Dominic Mysterio drop kicks Undertaker off the apron, but Scott Hall fights back and has Dominic up. Jey Uso trips Scott Hall, and Dominic and Jey Uso showing great tag teamwork. And Dominic with a low blow to Scott Hall behind the referee's back. That signature lie cheating still. The tag's made to The Undertaker, and Dominic tries to tag out. Jey Uso said he had a leg cramp. Dominic Mysterio runs into The Undertaker's choke slam, and Undertaker now has Dominic Mysterio up for the tombstone. Dominic fights out off the back of Undertaker. Dominic gets 2 uppercuts. He tries to come back to fight Undertaker. Undertaker clotheslines him in his corner. And Jey Uso is not there to tag in, but helps Dominic Mysterio. Tilt-a-whirl head scissor The Undertaker. And again, Undertaker holds on, and Jey Uso's there to help Dominic send Undertaker into the ropes. Scott Hall up on the apron, throws Jey Uso out of the ring. And Scott Hall has hold of Dominic Mysterio. Dominic throwing Scott Hall to the mat, and 619 to Undertaker. Dominic Mysterio going to the top rope. Scott Hall being sent out of the ring by the referee. Dominic Mysterio frog splash to the Undertaker. Dominic covering a lot of distance there. Undertaker throws him off the pin at 1. And Jey Uso up in his corner, up to the top rope. Uso splash to The Undertaker. Dominic Mysterio is the legal man, and Scott Hall taking out Jey Uso, throws him out onto the apron. Uso goes for the head kick. Scott Hall throws it away, but Dominic Mysterio kicking Scott Hall in the back, sending him out on the apron. Dominic with an assisted destroyer to The Undertaker. The Undertaker flying back into the corner after being dropped on the top of his head. Scott Hall trying to make it to his feet, and he clotheslines Jey Uso and throws him out of the ring. Undertaker stumbles out of the corner and picks Dominic Mysterio up. Has enough wherewithal to go for the Tombstone Pile Driver. Dominic gets spiked on the top of his head. Undertaker back into his corner. Scott Hall tags in. NWO versus Bloodline. We've seen it on Ring of Honor this past week and here again tonight. And we will see a huge 5-on-5 at the pay-per-view. NWO is going to take this one. No, Jey Uso breaks it up after the Razor's Edge. Scott Hall with a boot to Jey Uso, picks Uso up for the Razor's Edge. On to Dominic Mysterio, and NWO win this, but it was a great back and forth battle. Scott Hall gets the pin on Dominic Mysterio. And now Undertaker and Scott Hall have to face the Bludgeon Brothers next week for the #1 contender spot. Bloodline won the first match. NWO win this one. 1-1 so far. Ladies and gentlemen, next week, the debut of Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin's World's Greatest Tag Team. They are undefeated in Ring of Honor, and we'll see if they can climb up the ranks in the tag team division.
Stand back. There's a hurricane coming through.
And now, making his way to the ring, representing Seekers of Justice, Hurricane. Well, another former World Heavyweight Champion in the mix here tonight, and he is going against someone who is undefeated on Desolation. His only defeat coming from Arena, where Hurricane also took a loss, but not on his own accord. That's why he's got hard feelings towards JJ Justice. And his opponent, Tajiri. At Doomsday Select, we might find out who the mentor of Tajiri is. That has been placed as one of the stipulations in Tajiri's Doomsday Select match, if he makes it to the pay-per-view. And also that has to be voted on by the fans. And here we go. Hurricane locking up with Tajiri. Hurricane goes to slam Tajiri. Tajiri lands on his feet, goes for a head kick. Hurricane ducks and drop kicks Tajiri on the back of Tajiri. Goes for a knee drop on the apron, but Tajiri with a back elbow. Handstand spring into Hurricane. Hurricane out of the way with Tajiri on his shoulder. Tajiri with an arm drag to Hurricane. Hurricane leapfrogs the back of Tajiri, and an arm drag by Hurricane. Tajiri, center of the ring. Hurricane keeping him down, but Tajiri gets to his feet. Backs Hurricane into the ropes, sends him off, but Hurricane takes Tajiri down. Tajiri tries to trip Hurricane, and Hurricane gets the Hurricane Rana. Tajiri gets a drop kick as he makes it to his feet, and Hurricane misses the splash in the corner. Tajiri with a kitchen sink. And monkey flip to Hurricane. And a mule kick sending Hurricane back into the corner. Goes for an elbow. Hurricane with a leg drop but misses. And Tajiri flipping off the body of Hurricane and into him with a handstand. Throws him to the center of the ring. And a mule kick to a seated Hurricane. Tajiri stalking him for the head kick, but Hurricane avoids it, and a backbreaker to Tajiri, and a headlock takeover. But Tajiri going for that submission move he won with last week. Hurricane makes it to the ropes, elbows Tajiri off of him. Tajiri with a handstand into Hurricane. Hurricane into the steps. Tajiri cross body, but gets caught by Hurricane, and Hurricane suplexes Tajiri into the steel steps. Hurricane springing off the top rope, and leg drop to the back of the head of Tajiri. Hurricane springing off that title stand, Hurricane Rana, but Tajiri holds on and throws Hurricane in the opposite direction towards the crowd, and moonsaults off that stage prop onto Hurricane, and his foot gets caught in the barricade. Hurricane makes it in the ring to break up the count, and when he comes back out, he eats a drop kick by the Hurricane. Hurricane sends Tajiri back into the ring, goes for a shot to the head. Tajiri goes for a kick, but Hurricane catches Tajiri in the ankle lock. Tajiri, I thought he was caught, but he rolls through and rolls through again. And Tajiri and Hurricane rolling around the mat looking for an edge, and Hurricane gets the roll up and Tajiri kicks out. Hurricane goes for a clothesline. Tajiri avoids, but Hurricane makes him eat a spin wheel kick. Goes for the super kick, but Tajiri tries to reverse Hurricane, but Hurricane ends up leg dropping Tajiri in the back of the head. Butterfly suplex, face planting Tajiri. Hurricane springboards off the rope, and Tajiri drop kicking Hurricane in mid-air. Hurricane with a back elbow to Hurricane, sending him onto the apron. And Hurricane gets brought back in with an arm drag. Tajiri springboard, drop kick, sending Hurricane to the other side of the ring. Tajiri going for that handstand springboard, but Hurricane with the legs wrapped around Tajiri drops Tajiri on the back of his head and pins him with his legs. Tajiri kicks out at 1. Hurricane with a kick to the head of Tajiri and a neck breaker. Big neck breaker to Tajiri. Tajiri makes it to the corner. Hurricane rushes in and eats a boot. Tajiri flipping into a DDT, spikes Hurricane on the top of his head. And a head kick. Hurricane blocked it. Tajiri gets thrown into the corner, trying to moonsault press onto Hurricane. Hurricane dives into Tajiri in the corner with his back and picking Tajiri up in the corner, going for the vertebraker. Vertebraker off the top rope. That will end his career. And he did it on the top turnbuckle, the back of Tajiri's head ricocheting, and he bounces back to the mat just in time with a steel chair to Hurricane, and Sabu off the steel chair onto the referee, plunging out of the ring. Sabu and just in time causing the disqualification, and just in time's not done. Steel chair to the back of the referee, and he is going to get fined for that. Can he take a fine that big this early in his career? Sabu, not the best mentor, but they are making a statement for sure. Bringing Hurricane up to the top rope, and Tajiri electric chair to both men through the chair, a literal electric chair. Next week, NWO has earned a chance to fight us, and we are coming for the Death Grips Tag Team Champions, and we will not be stopped until we get our hands back on Zeus and Bruce. The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Making our way to the ring, Julia. Stephanie Vacker. And here we go, Stephanie Vacker and Julia locking up. Julia getting pushed back to the ropes. Stephanie Vacker with a clean break. As the waist of Julia, waist lock, German suplexing Julia into the ropes. That was nasty, and meaty aura to Julia out of the ropes. Out onto the apron, and Julia's caught up in the ropes, and a 360 knee by Stephanie Vacker to the head of Julia while she was trapped in the ropes. Stephanie Vacker pulling her back into the ring, and that might be it. Julia Price counts to 2. Julia kicking out. Julia rolling up Stephanie Vacker. And Stephanie rolling up Julia. Julia shining wizard to the head of Stephanie. Rolling suplex. Picks Stephanie up. Stephanie Vacker escapes and trips Julia into the middle rope. Stephanie knees to the back of Julia and traps her in the ropes, choking her out. Julia Price telling her to get off of her or risk the disqualification. And what a nasty submission by Stephanie. And Julia drops her weight on Stephanie to break the hold. Out onto the apron. Stephanie goes for the Meteora, but gets drop kicked off the apron and plants her knees in the apron. And a suicide dive by Julia to Stephanie onto the steel steps and rams her head into the barricade. German suplex to Stephanie into the steel steps, sending her inside out. Stephanie on her knees gets kicked in the head, and Julia pump handle slam. And Stephanie escapes, kicks the knee of Julia, hands standing into the ropes, and springs off into a crossbody. Knees to the head of Julia. Stephanie and Julia putting on a clinic here tonight. Back and forth action. This could go either way. Stephanie breaks the count. Julia, as Stephanie wrapped around her. Stephanie powerbombs Julia into the ropes. Julia comes back. Sunset flip to Stephanie onto the floor. Picks her up. Powerbombs Stephanie onto the apron. Stephanie thrown back in, but wraps around Julia out of the ring. Throws her out, and a crossbody off the middle rope. And then throwing Julia back in. Julia goes for that kick. Stephanie drop kicks Julia into the ropes. Wraps around Julia and sends her into the ropes. Julia comes back, rolls up Stephanie Vacker. Great mat work by Julia. Pins Stephanie center of the ring, and she gets a 2. Trips Stephanie Vacker, goes for a flip leg drop but misses, and Stephanie doesn't miss that. Drop kick to Julia. Arm drag by Stephanie Vacker and drops Julia on the back of her head. Julia kicks out at 1. Big chop by Stephanie. Kick to the gut by Julia and a neck breaker by Julia. Julia springs up to the middle rope and drop kick to Stephanie Vacker. Comes in with a forearm, trips the leg of Stephanie. Julia with a knee to Stephanie. And has got her up and plants Stephanie on her face. Shining wizard by Julia, and that could be it. Julia Price counts 2. Stephanie kicks out at 2. And Stephanie has Julia up and slams her into the corner upside down. Julia fights back with a knee. Stephanie slams her again and picks her up onto the second rope in the corner, and a power bomb off the middle turnbuckle out onto the apron. Julia with a Hurricane Rana to Stephanie, sending her back into the ring. Julia on the apron, springs in, missile drop kick. Stephanie bouncing off the rope, ducks underneath the clothesline, trips Julia, misses the leg drop. Julia misses the head kick. Stephanie Vacker, German suplex. Julia lands on her feet. Julia arm drag. Stephanie catches it. Stephanie backstabber. Julia shrugs her off. Julia drop kick to the head, but Stephanie avoids it. Stephanie ducks out of the way of that elbow attempt by Julia. Rolls Julia up. Julia reverses it. Powerbomb to Stephanie. High powerbomb into a kick to the head. And a backflip knee drop to the head of Stephanie Vacker. Stephanie over. Stephanie into a leg lock. And Julia counters into her own leg lock, kicks to the back of the head by Julia. And Stephanie stands up, goes for the pin, but Julia rolls her up, and Stephanie slings her into the corner. Julia comes out of the corner with a Shining Wizard and has Stephanie up for the Striking Viper, but Stephanie escapes. And Stephanie going for that backbreaker, but Julia with the elbows. And Julia inverted Rana. Stephanie dropped on her head and then dropped on her back. Julia leg drops to the midsection. Julia rolls out onto the apron, up to the top rope, cross body, nails her target. Shotgun drop kick, sending Stephanie Vacker into the corner. Winds her up with a power slam into a suplex, into the Striking Viper, center of the ring. Julia with the win here tonight. No, Stephanie kicks out of the Striking Viper. Julia sending Stephanie into the corner. Stephanie underneath Julia. Julia rolls up Stephanie. And now all of her weight on the shoulders, but Stephanie still kicks out. And Stephanie with a head kick and flipping knees to the midsection. Julia rolling up Stephanie again, springs up to the top rope. And a big crossbody to Stephanie Vacker. Julia out on the apron. Stephanie Vacker pulling her back in. Stephanie standing on the middle ropes and an inverted suplex. But Julia turns it into a sunset flip. Sends Stephanie Vacker flying. Julia springing in, hits Stephanie with her knee and into a submission. Stephanie fights out. And Stephanie German suplex with Julia's arm trapped behind her back. Julia kicks out at 2. Stephanie with a head kick and she nails it. Stephanie goes for the Devil's Kiss. But Julia counters and picks Stephanie up and slams her gut first onto her knee and sends her head first back into the mat. Julia picks up Stephanie, but Stephanie kicks off the ropes, flips and lands on her feet. Kick to Stephanie Vacker, sends her into the ropes, back into a powerbomb, into an alley-oop. She misses the Shining Wizard attempt and a shotgun drop kick by Stephanie Vacker. Both women are down. They both get up at the same time. Chopped by Stephanie, shot by Julia, and they exchange forearms. Kick to the gut by Julia. Flipping head kick by Stephanie Vacker to the back of the head of Julia. Picking Julia up. Power bomb. Seated power bomb. Picks her back up. Stephanie Vacker going for another power bomb, but Julia flips out. But Stephanie traps her, has her arms behind her back, butterfly suplex onto her knee, and going up for the spiral tap. And she's got it. Julia gets her knees up. Incredible. Julia Striking Viper, center of the ring. And she sits on the shoulders of Julia, and that's gotta do it. Yes, Julia pinning Stephanie, center of the ring. Big win for Julia here tonight. She has been on a winning streak as of late, heading towards Doomsday Select. Dwight Schrute here with Chyna and Rhea Ripley. The women's tag team tournament is ours, darling. That's right, me and Rhea Ripley are about to dominate this tournament and take home the inaugural tag team championships. And making his way to the ring, Kenny Omega. Kenny looking for a fight with the newly formed team, Sky Team. His foe, Will Ospreay, has put together an ensemble of high-flying assault. Kenny Omega looking to hurt Speedball Mike Bailey here tonight and get one step closer to Will Ospreay at Doomsday Select. What will their match be? I'm excited to see. If Kenny Omega wins this match, I'm being told he gets to pick one of the stipulations. And his opponent, representing Sky Team, Speedball Mike Bailey. A great signing for LZW. Both general managers Billy Graham and Eric Bischoff have been signing great talent as of late and putting on hell of great shows of pay-per-views. Look at Sky Kid! The bell sounds and Speedball Mike Bailey comes flying in with a boot to the head of Kenny Omega and then springs off the bottom rope with a knee. And Mike Bailey with a head kick to Omega down on his knees and then a dragon sleeper dragging Kenny Omega down to the mat. And Omega drops down to release the submission, but Mike Bailey not done. The assault on Kenny Omega, he rolls Kenny Omega up. Multiple revolutions kick into the head of Kenny Omega. Definitely a Will Ospreay inspired move there. Speedball sends Kenny Omega into the corner, flies in with another head kick. Mike Bailey doing major damage to Omega, powerbomb on the apron. And he's hitting quick, moving fast, because he's in there with the best bout machine. And he wants to soften him up if he can't get the win for Will Ospreay at least. Kenny catches Mike Bailey, trapped him with his legs. Mike Bailey able to get out and eats a V-trigger. But Mike Bailey doesn't go down and he rolls Kenny Omega up. Goes to drop the elbow bomb on Omega. Omega moved out of the way, rolls Bailey up. And he's got Bailey. Not for long. But Bailey drops Omega. Speedball dropping hard elbows to the head of Omega and flies at him with a drop kick. Omega out of the way of Mike Bailey. Crotched himself on the rope and then a V-trigger to the back. Omega picks Bailey up, but Bailey reverses. Going for another submission. A Kimura. Omega fights out of the Kimura. Pushes Bailey away, but Bailey with a lariat sending Omega inside out. And Bailey, what a roundhouse kick, winding it up right on target. Bailey looking amazing in his Desolation debut against the cleaner Kenny Omega. And that was an impressive slam there. Drop kick to seated Kenny Omega, and he's not done, but Omega reverses with a Hurricane Rana, and Omega back in control. Omega backbreaker into a face buster. Center of the ring, drops Mike Bailey down, and this might be it. But Mike Bailey not staying still, and Omega beating some sense into Bailey to stay down, or he's going to get swept up by the cleaner. But Bailey, a great ground game by Mike Bailey, ending up in the Boston Crab. Kenny Omega gets to the ropes. Billy Price checking Omega. Oh my God. Bailey shooting star knees to the back of Omega. Just a version of the Gonzo Bomb we've seen not on Desolation, but Mike Bailey's had feuds in the past with Brody King. Dropping Omega with that Gonzo Bomb, but Omega comes back with an uppercut, one in the corner, and picks Mike Bailey up in the corner. Bailey fighting out, shots to the head. Trying to get out of the one-winged angel. And that shot, Omega catches the arm and pulls him down into the one-winged angel from the middle rope. What a devastating finisher, and Kenny Omega defeats Mike Bailey here tonight. Great match for the debut, and Sky Kid coming down from the sky to make sure Omega doesn't do anything furthermore to a beaten Mike Bailey, and there comes Ospreay as well. Ladies and gentlemen, this week it will be the Ring of Honor World Champion putting the title on the line against the #1 contender, R-Truth. Join us for Ring of Honor Television right now. His main event time, the APE World Champion, JJ Justice, puts the title on the line against the man who took his spot in the $1 Billion Foundation, Jamal. But before that, if I could just get a quick shut up, Dwight. Ospreay hiding behind Sky Team. It's got Sky Kid watching my match from above. I mean, what is that? Really? What are you trying to do, Will? I just want it to be me and you, one-on-one, so the world can finally see when I beat you on pay-per-view. The following is for the APE World Heavyweight Championship. Introducing the challenger representing the $1 Million Foundation, Jamal. This man is a straight up savage in the ring, and he does not stay down easy. Maybe tonight he softened up after that all-out war last week. And his opponent, the Alien Primate Entertainment World Heavyweight Champion, JJ Justice. He is also one half of the Mixed Tag Team Champions, and he'll have to defend at Doomsday Select. But will he still be the world champion come Doomsday Select? He still be world champion after tonight. His first challenge is Jamal, and that is a huge test. Julia Price taking his titles from him. Jamal going right after Justice before the bell even sounds, before Justice can even get in the ring. And Jamal pulls Justice in and the bell sounds. Justice with elbows to Jamal. Jamal picking Justice up and into the corner. Heavy shoulder strike. The midsection of Justice throws Justice back down to the mat. Rolls through, and Justice with stomps down to Jamal. And now mounting Jamal, going for the strikes on the ground. Jamal throws him off and pounces at Justice. Pulls him back, slams him down center of the ring. Jamal taking charge in the early goings of this match. Hits the ropes but runs into Justice. And Justice hoists up Jamal and holds him in the air. Gorilla press, slamming the big man. And Justice springing off the middle rope, leg drop to Jamal, and then drops the elbow. Raining down heavy shots. Jamal throws him off. Jamal flies at him with a crossbody. Justice sits up. Jamal fires at him with chops. And another full body attack by Jamal, using all of his weight, trying to crush Justice between the ropes, and a wind-up slam, going for the pin. Definitely not this early in the match for the new world champion. Can Jamal bring home the world champion to Ted DiBiase? Big suplex by Jamal. DiBiase will have 2 world champions in the group between Jamal and Bianca. If Jamal can, what a back body drop, if he can seize the day, seize the night, and he damn well could do it. Jamal, since his debut, has been absolutely dominant, dominating Arena and winning that all-out war last week that had so many people in it. And he was in the middle of the NWO Bloodline War. Jamal is the real deal. That back body drop. JJ Justice lands on his feet, flips out of it, picks Jamal up. Jamal escapes and German suplex. Justice could have clipped that bottom rope and had some serious neck problems. Big splash by Jamal to Justice in the corner. Jamal springs up in a moonsault to a standing Justice. Butterfly suplex to JJ. And a spiral crossbody to a seated Justice. Goes for the pin. Only a 2 count. Jamal picking up Justice. Knee to the gut. Justice on the apron. Jamal rushes in. Gets a boot to the face. Justice springs off the bottom rope. Around Jamal. Dragon sleeper slam. Hoist Jamal up. And drops the big man center of the ring. What strength by the champion. Jumps up to the top rope and a turnaround boot from the top. And that could turn the tides of this match. Maybe not. What a lariat, sending Justice inside out. Jamal picks Justice back up and powerbombs him into the corner. And a butterfly suplex, but Justice lands on his feet. And Jamal comes in, but a misdirect elbow wipes out Jamal. Justice has got Jamal up. Torture rack. Jamal gets out before any damage can be done. Serious damage. Turns Jamal. Jamal turns Justice inside out. Unprettier. Kill switch. Whatever you want to call it. It is effective. And Jamal's going to take the World Championship home. That signature leg drop, but no, Justice kicks out. Impressive kick out by JJ Justice. Jamal, Death Valley driver, rushes in. Justice kicks Jamal away up to the second rope in the corner. Jamal gets up and Justice with a diving DDT spiking Jamal. And then a famouser center of the ring. Is this a retention? No, it's not even a 1 count. Justice picks Jamal up. Brain buster. Justice trying to end this early. But this is going to cause some serious damage. He goes flying. Justice has to defend the mixed tag team champions at the pay-per-view. And if he wins this match, I don't know if he'll have a championship match for the world title at the pay-per-view. But if he wins this, he will still be the world champion come the pay-per-view. Jamal choking out Justice and throws him to the mat with his shirt. Jamal shoulder block taking down Justice. Belly to belly by Jamal, planting Justice. And Jamal taking control of this world title match. Neck breaker. But Justice catches him. And up to the top rope. And plants him. Brain buster. Head first goes Jamal on that top turnbuckle. But he misses that top rope turnaround boot. And Jamal with a diving headbutt. And a cannonball in the ropes. Pulls Justice up on his shoulder. Powerbomb, corner powerbomb, and Justice comes back with a side effect. Justice misses that shot and goes tumbling out onto the apron, and Jamal recovers him and slingshots him back into the ring. Springing off the middle rope, gets caught by Justice. How does Justice still have this kind of strength? Hoist Jamal up on his shoulder, suplex, Devil's Destroyer, that is it. What a title defense. We are out of time here on Desolation. What a world championship match. And we will see you next week. Join us this week for Ring of Honor, where you will see the Ring of Honor World Championship match on the line. Rosie was right earlier. Congrats to the world champion Justice.